do the right thing, right? You know you can do without that bribe. You know you don't even have to harass that young man because he is properly dressed. And you think he's a Yahoo boy? You don't even have to assault that citizen whom you have sworn an oath to protect. Yes, we understand that the pay is not good enough to take you home. That you are still wearing a uniform that you bought with your own money 5 years ago. It's no news that the government has not done enough by you. We feel your pain and we wish things could be different as we continue to call on government to wake up to their responsibilities. We want the police to be our friends, just as it is boldly stated across the various police stations nationwide. And from mainland 98.3 FM, we implore you to do better. We love you and we support you always.
Things seem anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship you face. I wish there were other ways, but there is not. If there were,
in our quest to bring to the table issue-based conversation around nationhood and development, we have made 4 to 5:30 p.m. Monday to Friday the perfect time to welcome you into the Situation Room as we continue to build the narrative about public service and accountability.
Mr. President, this Senate needs to know. Mr. President, this Senate needs to lend its voice to the plight of these people. Mr. President, there is nowhere I can say it except here. This is why I'm elected. If I cannot say these things on this floor, sir, I better resign and leave.
As elections give the citizens the chance to make their political decisions, constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us now, there is nothing, we are starving. Tinubu should please do something.
It's also important to having a Nigeria of everyone's dream. Join 괏ʟɪᴜnɪᴏ as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial, mainland 98.3 FM. We'll welcome you, roommates, as we discuss the situations.
A very good evening to you. Welcome to the Situation Room live on mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. Compliment of the season, and I hope you're enjoying your day. I hope you have, done a lot of unboxing for the gift that you received yesterday. Well, as somebody said yesterday was Jesus' birthday, so why are we stressing ourselves? And I said, well, for unto us a child is born, and unto us a child is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. So is everybody's birthday. Hey, just just in the mood, trying to more importantly appreciate everyone that has stood with us all through the year on the station, the calls, the messages, the guests, virtual live in the studio, the contributions, the correction, the conversation we've had, the disagreement, the agreement, the alignment. We say thank you. Because without everyone listening to us on this show, then we have no business being in this business of broadcasting. I thank you so much to everyone that had been with us all through the year. I mean, it's been a tough year, especially if you're someone that follows political conversations in Nigeria. It's been one that almost on daily basis there's something different coming up. There's something engaging, that builds conversation. Sometimes there are things that also comes in to distract the people, and so one minute we're asking the right questions from the government, the next minute something else is happening, and then we abandon that one. And then it's been a very funny year, and it's been a year that has had so much the ups and downs. One moment we're discussing policies, the next moment we're discussing Bobrisky being sentenced to prison. Next moment we are discussing the budget, or we are discussing the budget performance. At the next moment we are discussing Very Dark Man and Fowls and Barrister Femi Falana. And so one moment you think we're absolutely on the game, and then the next moment another reality show comes up, and then we get distracted. We focus on those ones. One moment we are asking the right questions, we are demanding accountability from the National Assembly, and the next moment the African Cup of Nations is coming on, So it's been a year, that's had its own, mixed feelings. It's been a roller coaster ride for Nigerians, but the most important thing is that we're still here, we're still alive. The 26th day of December 2024. In about 6 days or 5 days time, I will come up with the whole conversation of happy new year, new me, new year, new resolution. This year, I promised to do this one, I promised to do some of these things, and then by the time it's the end of January, you ask yourself, these things I said I want to do, I've not started doing it. It's I've always said it. I'm really not so carried away with the excitement of 1st of January, because I feel 31st of December to 1st of January is the same transition of 30th of June and 1st of July. It's same thing as 31st of January and 1st of February. It's a regular day for me, but of course I think it's a mental thing, where everybody feels like, what, I'm having the opportunity to start again, to start afresh. Some of the things I couldn't do last year, some of the decisions that I took, I couldn't pull through. Some of the things I procrastinated on last year, I'm going to do them this time. And so, the transition is funny. More so when you go to, worship centers on the 31st, the way everyone loads into some of the churches, religious houses, and it's almost like, they said rapture will happen. By 31st, everybody will do that. So I'm always wondering, like, why do we focus so much on going to our place of work? Some people will not go to church from the first day of the year, but on that 31st of January, everybody will rush to church. From church by 1st of January, by evening of 1st of January, we're back at our regular places. But give it to Nigerians when it comes to resilience, when it comes to our ability to pull ourselves out of nothing. In the midst of all of this conversation, there's no money in the country, things are tough, times are hard. You need to see Idumota. People be like water. Go to Oshodi, everywhere choke. Everybody's in the market. Go to the malls, go to the stores. People are having family time. People are taking their kids out. All the malls, stores, everywhere is full to capacity. People are buying new cars. People are moving into new houses. So in the midst of all of this, Nigerians always have a way to celebrate. Nigerians always have a way to look back and say, hey, it's been an amazing year. Even though we've had our challenges, it's been tough, ups and downs, but the most important thing is that we have all our families together. We're celebrating yesterday. As early as 8:30, my first batch of delivery came for Christmas food. I said, this is what I'm talking about. A big shout out to the GM of the station also. There was some good level of feasting on the house yesterday. Even Mr. Said Fuad as well. So I think it's always that period where we ask ourselves the question, what have been your wins in the year? What have been your losses in the year? Wow. In terms of what we do on this show, the Situation Room, there's been a lot of situations in this country. The landmark judgment of the Supreme Court that gave absolute autonomy to local government operations in Nigeria, landmark. Everybody celebrated it. Maybe it's going to have effect. Maybe it's going to take effect. Maybe it's really going to guarantee absolute autonomy for local government chairmen. Let's see how or what 2025 would bring up for that one. Wow. There were off-circuit elections also in 2024 in Ondo and Edo. The performance of INEC, how did it go in those ones? You'd also look at the tax reforms bill. Oh my word, I'm not sure in my few years of doing this job, I'm not sure I've had maybe 2 or 3 instances where we've had conversations that have dominated the space as much as the tax reforms bill. The first time I'm seeing former governors speaking, serving governors also talking, religious leaders, National Assembly members, opposition party, traditional rulers, faith-based groups, youth groups, interest. Everybody is having an opinion. Some are supporting Mr. President to pull through the tax reforms. Others are saying no, it's not going to work. From Governor Seyi Makinde saying they advised Mr. President to step it down a bit. To the governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Zulum, saying that if they pull it through, they will not be able to pay, salaries or run some of their entitlements or some of their commitments. It was a conversation that generated a lot of controversy. From the get-go, distinguished Senator Alin Dume had been on the neck of the president, he came out to say that, oh, this issue is going to be a DOA. It's going to be a dead on arrival when they bring it to the National Assembly. I remember what happened between himself and the Deputy Senate President that stood in for the Senate President, talking about distinguished Senator Jibrin Barao. Remember the confrontation that happened on the floor of the House between Senator Jibrin Barao and Senator Alin Dume. The following day, Senator Alin Dume was on national TV, said, hey, he's older than Senator Jibrin. He's been in the House earlier than he's done. He's more qualified than him. He's older than him. He does not have the right to shut him down. He's this, is that. I mean, you know, people personalizing issues that should be discussed with all logic and reasoning. But it's okay. It's part of the things you get to see within Nigerian political space. But indeed, 2024 was a year, you know, that threw up you. The president also gave a media chat a couple of days back, and in those media chat, the president said he does not regret whatsoever his decision to remove the subsidy. And he says that, hey, if you cannot afford to pay for electricity, switch off your lights when you're going out. I mean, remember the Minister of Power also said so at the start of the year that Nigerians don't have power management discipline or something. I can't remember how he put out what. I know Nigeria felt offended by that, but hey, the president said if you cannot sustain electricity bills, switch off your lights when you're going out. He said there's no going back on the removal of subsidy. He said it's a new dawn. And the budget proposal, almost 48 trillion. We're waiting. Maybe the Senate will take out of it or add to it. Let's see how it goes. Those were the issues that we had to talk about. There was the River State conversation as well. One day it's Nyesom Wike, the next day is Fubara, the build up to the Edo State election as well, the fallout of the immediate past governor Godwin Obaseki, the fact that the APC won the election, the primaries of the APC that brought in the now deputy governor initially, but they said the calculation and the zoning did not pay them. They ordered for a rerun or to reconduct another primaries, and then there was Senator Monday Okpebolo. Now His Excellency Governor Monday Okpebolo of Edo State. Remember what happened in Ondo State as well. How Lucky Aiyedatiwa won the primaries, and 7 of the aspirants went to challenge the outcome of the APC primaries in Ondo State. At the end of the day, APC closed the ranks. They got into the election and declared all of the 18 local government as against that of the People's Democratic Party candidate, the former deputy governor of the state, Agbola Ajayi. So those were a lot of issues that dominated the conversation in the course of the outgoing year. Mr. Miwademi joins me on the show today. He's the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper, and together we run, a rundown of some of the political discussions we had all through the year. It's Thursday, the last edition of the show for the year. The next time I'm here is going to be the 2nd of January 2025. So hopefully the president will have given the State of the Nation address to give us pointers to what we should expect in terms of policies, in terms of the politics itself. And don't forget, I will also have off-cycle elections in 2025. Yes, there is Anambra State on the menu, and everybody's wondering, what exactly is the APC up to? The national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, the immediate past governor of Kano State, Abdullahi Ganduje, came to say that the APC wants to clear all of the states ahead of the 2027 election. And so by 2026, there will also be off-cycle elections in Osun State, a stronghold of the PDP. There's also going to be off-cycle elections in Ekiti State, being held down by the All Progressive Congress. But because of the uniqueness of the Southeast, especially the results coming from the opposition parties since 1999, it has always been a PDP zone until the Labour Party tsunami came through in 2023. And before we say what was happening, the Labour Party produced a governor in Abia State. Interesting times, right? Governor Alex Oti, he had said that, you know what, we know what we're going to do. We know how we're going to flip it. I'm a member of the Labour Party, but the Labour Party won all of the local government elections in my state. But for Anambra State, there's Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo holding sway there. And so it's going to be more like, how do I put it now, an appraiser space for him to prove to the people of Anambra State that he deserves to have a second term. However, You want to look at the All Progressive Congress and say, you know what, now we're in control. Let's see how we can wrestle power, or let's see how we can also get ourselves in the mix. Remember, those zones have had some touch of ABGA rather, and PDP as well. Labour Party also get into the mix, getting some reps members, a few senators, and of course they have a governor. So we also focus on that ahead of the 2025 election. But more importantly, the implementation of the Nigerian budget. Yesterday, after midweek politics, I went over and I spent quite a lot of time on the 2025 appropriation bill that's the budget proposed by Mr. President. Over 2,000 pages, so voluminous. But I just kept reading every pages. I looked at the infrastructure proposal that we have. I looked at the budget of the National Assembly, over 300 billion, and there's no breakdown for how the 300 billion will be spent. It seems Nigerians don't have the right to know how much or how their National Assembly how their lawmakers are getting their pay. Maybe the Nigerians don't deserve to know because there's no breakdown of that provision in the proposed 2025 budget. But like I said, the president would await the decision of the National Assembly, and then let's see how all of that would work out. But more importantly, again, you're also looking at 2024. The 2024 budget, remember, has been announced. It will roll into 2025, maybe till May, June. But for me, beyond budget rolling over, I've always been interested in budget performance. Do we have yardstick? Do we have measuring, indices to actually gauge the performance of some of these, humongous amount of monies that we release to ministries, to departments, to agencies, to state governors as a whole? Do we really have a platform to review budget performance in Nigeria? You see this money, 37 trillion, 21 trillion, 9.3 trillion. Now it is 47.96 trillion. Just less than 400 billion to make it 48 trillion. So we can approximately say the appropriation bill is maybe 48 trillion. For a country of over 230 million people, a lot of people have come out and said that, oh, Nigeria's budget is still one of the cheapest or one of the smallest on the continent, especially looking at the population that we have. You look at what some of these other countries with lesser populations are running on. Maybe a lot of people are maybe right, but for me, it's basically it's not about the size of the budget. It is the implementation of that budget. The people that are saddled with responsibility of implementing this budget, are they doing it? We've had issues of corruption, people allegedly stealing money, taxpayers' monies kept in their custody, even as chief executive of their state. The immediate past governor of Kogi State, the White Lion himself, Yahya Bello, is still on bail. The case will probably come up by next year, and the chairman of EFCC had come out to say that until he sees the end, he gets to the end of this case, he would rather resign than make sure that Yahya Bello does not get whatever it is. I don't know what they have against each other, but the most important thing is that if you as a governor of a state serve with the responsibility of developing your state, and you're not just the governor, you stand on the line of history, being the youngest governor ever born after the Civil War. We've had the likes of Senator Jᴏ Kalu. I think it was about 38 when he became governor. We've had former governor of Cross River State, Donald Duke. I think it was about 38 or thereabout. But all of them were born before the Civil War. Yahya Bello was born after the Civil War, so making him the youngest ever person to be born after the Civil War to become a democratically elected governor 2 times of 8 years. By the end of the day, you are made to come and account for 89 billion, and then you went to hide. The first one you did a cameo appearance. The second one you did, you appeared in court. They granted you bail. You look at some of these issues, and let's hope that Mr. President will be in charge, and then next year I will be able to look back and say, yes, our budget has done well. Perhaps with results in terms of infrastructural development, in terms of development in the education sector, the health sector, public infrastructure, public transport system, security, provision of food so that we don't continue to struggle with food crises and all of that. Those are the ways you can say truly a budget has performed, a budget that has put the smile on the faces of the people has delivered. Those are the yardstick. Mr. Miwademi, compliment of the season. Merry Christmas for yesterday. Happy Boxing Day today. And then the greetings continues till the 1st of January. Good to have you join us on the show today.
Yeah, the compliment of the season to all our listeners. And I believe that you are enjoying the Boxing Day and you enjoyed the Christmas yesterday.
You know, somebody made a joke that workers have gone on break for the year, that there's only laborers that are still working. And I said, if what you want to use to define my job as a journalist is to call me a laborer because I'm working, let that will be done. I mean, our job is to labor and make sure that information gets to the people.
We cannot describe our work as that of a laborer. At least it's better to describe essential workers.
Exactly.
You know, as essential workers, I think so we cannot afford to observe most of these holidays. Because I think we can't keep short the radio and our listeners here and there. I think we want to hear one or two things. So I think to service and to satisfy our numerous listeners, so we have to be on duty. I think to make them happy, part of the holiday. So we're not able to be essential worker.
I mean, it's even a privilege, Mr. Miwa, the fact that people trust our judgment, and then people listen to whatever information we share. I think for me is the consolation for having to work when everybody else is relaxing. Let's get straight up into it, Mr. Miwa. Today is the last edition of the show for the year, and then we'll just have a review of some of the key political issues that went down in 2024. And there was the End Bad Governance protest as well on the 1st of October to 10th of October. There was the tax reform bill that literally drew lines of regional sentiments, lines of religious bias, because people were saying, oh, it's the North versus the South, oh, it's the Muslim versus the this. There were just a lot of coloration to that particular issue. There was also the conduct of INEC in some of the off-cycle elections and the runoff, or the by-elections rather, that we had. Remember, at early time of the year, we had by-elections into senatorial seats, House of Rep seats. September and November we had governorship election in Edo and Ondo State as well. There's also the landmark judgment for the absolute autonomy for local government. Which of these political issues or these major events do you think had shaped the conversation the most in 2024 for you?
Well, I think to me we have two. I think apart from what you have said, we have mentioned that we can really refer to. I think that shaped political events in terms of how those events related to the people. Because for anything we are doing here, I think the people must be at the center, I think, of the discussion. We cannot overrule or underestimate the impact of bad governance protests. Because I think the people's reaction to the policies of the federal government and state government as well. Because the reforms, I think the federal government is undertaking, we started feeling the impact seriously this year. But when it started May last year, where it was neither here nor there, Nigeria could see some of the effects. But by beginning of this year, the impact was being greatly felt. And because I think last year there were hopes of palliatives, that maybe when those palliatives were implemented, will cushion effect on people. But it dawned on Nigerians by February, March this year, that even with the palliatives being talked about, implementation and the people that were trusted to implement those palliative programs, I think were behaving as if they were another country. So what I'm saying is that with the way those palliatives came, that they had no effect, I think, on the hardship. people implementing it even were doing it as if I think it was their birthright to give away what they wanted to give, to the extent that we saw how people were just giving politicians were given only members of their constituencies. We saw how I think some politicians that were given these palliatives to distribute, at least eat them. I think how they hit those palliatives, at least that the beneficiaries did not get those palliatives. So with all this, I think the impulse were now being felt by people who were simply not happy with the everything, and that culminated into a reaction which we all know now as bad governance protest. So I think for the first time, Nigerians were able to speak to the people in power that these reforms had no human face. That they have to think with these policies. I'm not saying that Nigerians are against reforms, because we all agree that we cannot continue the way we were going, the level of borrowing, and with the fictitious life people are living. The people will say there's something wrong in borrowing, but when the country got instead of borrowing money for consumption, as everybody knew, I think where we are heading, I think was not good. So that Nigerians kicked against reforms, but they wanted reforms with human face. Nigerians wanted reform, I think that not completely away from the mouth of the people. Nigerians wanted reforms that no matter, I think they let the government all be compassionate to them. Not only that, we are talking of kind of reforms that people asking us to tighten our debt. I think we will not continue to live our fictitious lives, lifestyle, and behaving as if we are living in different worlds. So Nigerians were able to speak to the people in the authority that when the reforms are carrying, we are not happy. And whether we like it or not, I think the voices, at least were very loud, at least for government, at least to discard or not to accept, not to feel that people were not happy with the way they were carrying on. So that one is very, very critical. I think we can have one time because most of that process like that cannot also do something to
Mr. Miwa, sorry, I'm struggling to hear you. Maybe you can change your location a little bit.
All right, so I'm saying that. Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better now, very clear now.
Okay, so I'm saying that the policies of the government, I think, were not that conducive for the people to happy with. So then again, the second aspect of the policies, I think we can look at again is the issue of this local government, the Supreme Court judge. Local
government autonomy
on the local government autonomy and then banning caretaker from governing our councils. It's also very, very significant and is to shape governance, especially making a kind of a good impact on the lives of the people at the grassroots. But be as it may, the very saddening thing to note here is that we all applauded that particular judgment, and if you could recollect what we said on this program then, it's a very good judgment. I think I said with what we received in conscious optimism that one thing is for the Supreme Court to give a judgment. Judgment. Another thing is for the implementation. So we now begin to wonder if a judgment was given, I think as far back as September, if I'm not mistaken.
Until now, it's not been implemented.
I think and not implemented up to now. I think they give the judgment in August. In August, if my memory serves me right. And by September, the federal government set up, I think, a committee on the implementation, headed by the Supreme Court and by the Attorney General of Federation, secretary to the federal government on the implementation, and they were given 3 months to work out and implement, I think, this particular judgment. And within that, the states were given kind of a opportunity, the window period, to conduct election into their councils. But Okoyemi, I think and our listeners will agree that up to now, the implementation of that judgment has not started.
The judgment was given on the 11th of July, actually.
So, if the implementation, I think, has not started, I think 5 months now after the judgment. So I think you now begin to wonder what is happening. So if the judgment came, Supreme Court judgment for that matter, and all Nigerians applauded it, but up to now, I think the implementation has not commenced. So it's a sad tale, I think, to many Nigerians, and we never expected it to happen as such. So I think with those two political events, I think were worth mentioning. I think that's one of those things that shaped it. Today we have this, though we still have these off-cycle elections, but the elections have come and gone, and the allegations now in court about it. But the good thing about it again is that, especially in the election conducted in Edo and Ondo, yes, I think there were little, I think, criticism of INEC in these two elections. But if the majority of Nigerians believe that no election, we are not saying that was free and fair,
but at least it was a bit of an improvement
on the side of INEC. But it now puts us to another issue to consider. One, two things. If you see the number of people that participated in this election, you will see that we begin to have, I think, the number coming down every time. Meaning, what I'm saying is that, I mean, you see the number of people that voted compared to the previous one, you see that statistics is coming down. So, which is not good. I think for election, like for instance, in the no governorship election, about 4 years ago, we had up to 40-something percentage of people that registered that participated. But in the last one, it's about 30-something, right? The same thing to Ondo. So you see that declining, I think, a number of people participating. So which put the questions into participatory governance, that how much of our people participating in leadership recruitment. So it's a big issue. Then, because if the numbers begin to decline, then it's now providing the opportunity or platform to begin to question, I think, the legitimacy of democracy we say we are practicing, I think, in Nigeria. Having said that one, we also saw that how vote buying, I think, money determine the
outcome of those elections.
So if vote buying, if IS bidder, I think is now the one, I think, smiling home after the election. We saw that one. So if that's what we are now experiencing in Nigeria, then I think again it begins to question the kind of our electoral process, and it begins to question we Nigerians as individuals, if we actually understand and what participatory government is all about. If some people, I think, believe that with 10,000 naira,
they can get a
give
vote.
mandate for somebody for 4 years, so you can completely hand over the key to the state treasury and to somebody. So for 4 years, I think it's something that next year you have to look into. It's not good enough for our democracy.
Mr. Miwa, now let me take you back a little bit. You talked about two major issues. The first is the End Bad Governance protest, and significantly, one of the issues that people kept asking for is that, hey, the government should lead from the front. If you are saying we should endure, we should tighten our belts, are you also leading from the front? If you look at the history of countries around the world that have gone through, bloodless revolution, it's been about the leaders putting themselves forward. From Turkey to the United Arab Emirates to India to Argentina, we've seen their leaders lead from the front. The leaders will not say, hey, endure a bit, and then they're living in luxury. You see the convoys of the governors, you see the convoy of Mr. President, you see the lavish take home that the lawmakers are taking, and then the people are struggling to put food on their table. I don't know what you think or what you make of that going into 2025. There's an appropriation budget proposal now of about 47.96 trillion. That's almost 48 trillion. And one would expect that Nigerians should go into the new year with some form of optimism. I mean, it's a new space, even though it's still the same energy, the same leaders. How do you think Nigerians can build that level of confidence in the government? I saw the convoy of Mr. President when he came to Lagos a few days ago, and for almost 1 minute 35 seconds, I was looking at the convoy. I saw the number of SUVs in the convoy of Mr. President. And I'm asking, how many of these cars can the president sit inside at the same time? You look at convoys of governors. You look at lawmakers, senators. You see how they live. And you look at the people that are feeding on their taxes. How do you think Nigerians can go into the new year with a renewed energy of, hey, things can get better when their leaders are not leading from the front?
Well, I think when I'm talking about the convoy of Mr. President, well, I think there's every need for him to review it. Because I think he has reviewed that of the ministers. According to him, that the ministers should not go with more than 3, vehicles in his convoy. We had that one. But the implementation has not been able to observe. He said it. And again, he was able to limit the number of people that will be going on traveling
with him.
Yes, they said it, but I think I have not been able to monitor the compliance.
It looks like they don't go with the president now, Mr. Adeyemi. So maybe when the president leaves on that trip on Monday, by Wednesday we'll see some of them with the president, but they don't go together now.
But we expect some civil society organizations that were in charge of monitoring all this, right? I think to come out with, a position or a statement, a verdict, if the government, if they are complying with those orders. Then, having said that, the government must lead, and leading in the sense that if we are saying we expect Nigerians to tighten their belts, you must lead by example. In every way of life, even in every cost, you are proving. It must reflect, because we are saying there's no money in the country. That's where we are subjecting Nigerians to this kind of reforms and action. But if you continue to live an ostentatious life, then Nigerians will begin to ask questions. Why are we suffering this? If people that are holding treasury
are living large,
living large. If there are senators, our reps, our House of Assembly, our governors are living large. I don't always want us to limit all this to the president.
The presidency.
I wish to, yes. So I wish to see even some of our state governors as well, right? I think living a lie to tell us, yes, truly we are not three measure. Do you understand? I want to see our commissioners, the chairman or whatever of the local government, to also let their lifestyle portray it. But everybody wants to argue that the president must show the way. So if the president is still going with a very large convoy, do you understand? Now, if it's for the security, right, I think you and I cannot determine. I think the kind of security that the intelligence will say must be provided in Lagos when it's coming. Do you know what I'm saying? So if we are saying that we have a large number of security vehicles, I don't see a president of a country like Nigeria. I don't see it. I don't see. I think taking the security. I think with
levity.
No, sorry, with levity. That because of the experience. No, we saw how it was to kill Murtala Mohammed, and we are living in a very heterogeneous society where we have more. I mean, some people, we cannot say that his life is safe in the hands of all Nigerians. No matter how good you are as a person, even people like us, you understand? Because maybe we are not holding any public office. We are not holding any political office, so we can easily walk along the street because killing me does not make you anything in life. You understand? I'm telling you the truth. If you have me as a person, cannot add anything to you, cannot solve your problem, so you can only add to your problem because police will be looking for you. You understand? But can't for that, Mr. President. You understand? But nonetheless, apart from security that will determine, so if the president cannot determine, I'm telling you the truth. What people don't know is that
the president cannot authorize exactly
what is really will do. But they will say that we have ourselves to take care to make sure you're secure. Not you, it's for the country. Because the country cannot go in flame. Cannot go up in flame.
True.
God forbid. If it's in Lagos here, I'm telling you, people should understand this. If it's in Lagos here, let somebody that is not from Lagos State, or even that's not from Yoruba land, threw a stone at him.
At the convoy of Mr. President.
I go with Mr. President or himself, and the person arrested discovered not to be a Yoruba person. Do you know what's going to happen in this country? I'm just to tell you how volatile our country is. Do you understand? Even let's say he's addressing somebody here now, and somebody threw a stone that hit him. I just talking of a stone. I'm not talking of bullets. And then the person arrested not to discover that it's a Yoruba person. If it's a Yoruba person, they can still contain it, right? But if it's not a Yoruba person, do you know what's going to happen? Do you know what's going to be the reaction in this country? So the president was well protected. I'm not arguing that one. But if the convoy of all these anger on, the minister that has no job to do with him while he's there, I think when the president is coming here, he's coming for holiday. This is the era of internet that the decision can be passed. So apart from chief of staff, and there is a personal aide. I'm talking about the chief, the people who handle this media. I don't know why anybody should follow into Lagos. Because if any work to be done by any other minister, they will pass the information. But that minister will pass the information to him. His principal secretary, Mᴜɪᴡᴜ, will pass the information to any minister that needs to do anything. He has the principal officer, he has the chief of staff, he has his media crew that was, these are president's men, they call them president's men. So apart from president's men that must be with him, right? I don't expect any minister, I don't expect any ambassador, I don't expect any party official living in the state to come and join me. Look what I'm saying. But you know, politicians, the way they behave in Nigeria here, eye service, but I'm not saying nobody should not play his eye service. But if he's not doing that at the expense of public resources, but we're doing it at the expense of the public, using the government resources for such trivialities and eye service, then I think the president must call them to order, or whoever is in charge of public resources that must call them to order. So that I think that's how we rather address that one. But by and large, the president himself is the leader of the country. If you ask Nigerians at least to continue taxing their debts, please, you should not begin to go far. And when I saw the president, the media shot, the man had a little week.
It was looking good.
So I think he had a week. So, but if you start there, you are saying with is Madam Tinubu's soup that's getting sweeter,
okay.
I wouldn't know.
He's allowed.
No, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know.
Well, Mr. Adeyemi, now that we've established the fact that there had to be some level of commitment shown for the people to also fall in line. You talked about the ministers. I mean, I was at the airport when we received the Minister of Interior to commission the e-pass access at the, Murtala Mohammed International Airport, the new departure wing. And I can tell you for a fact that was some convoy that I saw that night. But again, it's basically about leading from the front. If you say, hey, my children, we don't have money to feed today, you cannot take your drink, you cannot take your favorite noodles, and then your children see you lock yourself in the room tearing chicken and some green bottles, and your children will think you are wicked as a father, because if you are telling your kids that there's no money to spend and they are living a lavish lifestyle, your kids will never trust you. I think the leaders need to understand that they cannot continue to widen the gap between the governed and the government. You have to make sure that you close the gap. You have to make sure that you get yourself closer to the people. Just like you said, Mr. Adeyemi, leadership and governance must come with human face. People must see you being a recipient of the consequences of the policies you are making. You're not just there to make policies for the people. You should also participate in the consequences of those policies. I mean, if the government says everybody should convert to CNG buses, CNG vehicles, how many ministers are driving CNG vehicles? How many governors are driving CNG vehicles? How many CNG powered vehicles do we have in the president convoy? So if you expect the people to go through that system, you should be able to come out and say, hey, I'm the governor of state ABC. I'm driving a locally made CNG converted vehicle. People can trust that leadership from that point. But when you are spending billions to import vehicles and you are saying the people should be using a CNG, are you different from the people that are saying they should use CNG? I absolutely think that we should. Yes, we should have a review of some of the policies that we make here. Mr. Adeyemi, I have a promise to you that we're not going to take much of your time, so I'll have to let you go by 5. But before then, let me also, ask you from the tax reforms bill. That was a major issue in 2024, Mr. Adeyemi. Even members of the APC were speaking against the presidency. The opposition was talking. The religious leaders, Arewa Consultative Forum, were threatening that, hey, this would have political consequences in 2027 on Mr. President. If that reforms goes through, because that's part of the second reading, now it will go to a public hearing, and if all things go on according to what the Mr. President is thinking, it may get passed into law. How big do you think that would be going into 2025, especially the fact that we're having a 13 trillion deficit in our budget, and the government is projecting that some non-oil sectors would help to also fund the budget? How significant is the tax reform bill going into 2025?
I think this is my personal opinion, and I should be taken as such.
Sure.
Well, this tax reform bill is one of the major steps the president is taking on the fiscal federation many Nigerians have been advocating for. What do I mean by that? Nigeria is an heterogeneous society, and many people believe that we cannot continue to the way we have been going. And if everything about that they are complaining about in this tax reform bill, especially the renovation aspect of it, nobody is complaining there that I think the poor vulnerable will be exempted from paying tax. Nobody is complaining that I think the noble rich, the bourgeoisie will pay more. Nobody is complaining about that in the public. But the area of contention has been the aspect of VAT and derivation. What are we complaining about? And that shows the kind of the country we are. And if Tinubu had the opportunity, yes, some of us can forgive Obasanjo for not implementing many reforms just because Obasanjo regime was kind of a stopgap between our long years of military, just as civilians. It was a stopgap. But in a democratic setting and a federal system of government we operate, if certain things is exclusively acting in Lagos State, in consumption, we are talking of resources now. We are talking of mineral resources that the federal government is controlling. But if some things is exclusively happening in Lagos State, I'm saying what we consume some things here in Lagos State, and if that activity is not happening in Kano State, why must Kano State want to be a beneficiary, at times major beneficiary of that thing that Lagos State is consuming? Let's say we are consuming pure water here in Lagos State, and Lagos State that is cleaning the environment, sweeping the streets,
recycling,
managing the refuse, managing the refuse being generated by sachet water producers. Why should somebody in Kano, for example, that's not consuming it,
pure water?
For instance, now let me be very categorical for people listening to us. In Lagos, you see all these boys are drinking. All these sachet
alcohol,
gin, sachet alcohol. Well, not only sachet, even in plastic bottles. You know, they are disposables, right? So they drink and dump on the street of Lagos. But in Kano State, those things, activities don't happen in Kano State. Right. Then why should Kano want to, I think, benefit from the VAT of that alcohol
in Lagos?
Do you understand? Why? Do you understand? These are the area of this deliberation that we are beginning, that people are really contesting, that if you implement it, you understand, our state might be disadvantaged. There are some activities going on in your state as well that is not happening here. Are you not going to enjoy from such activities? Then we are not, yes, we are all Nigerians, but we are a heterogeneous society. Our belief system, our culture, tradition differ from one state, one region to the other. In as much I want to disturb my brother in the north, in Kaduna, Maiduguri, from enjoying what they believe, they should not also disturb me and the Yoruba man from enjoying what I believe. That is the essence of federation. So what I'm saying is that the issue of derivation and the VAT has been the issue in this aspect. And Mr. President should stand firm on it and get it achieved. Any level of consultation, let it be. Any level of let it be. But the issue of now saying that what is good here is federalism. What is good for Gaza is not good for the goose. It's not. It may not be good for the goose. What is good for us in the south may not be good for the north. Let each now have benefit from enjoying whatever for tax for whatever is being consumed. We're not talking of natural resources here. We are talking of what we are consuming.
Consumption.
Consumption for consumables. And I see no reason why it should be generating this crisis, because of the people refuse that what has been existing, the tradition the military has established for many years must continue, and it cannot continue. But again, President Tinubu may not be perfect or good in some areas, but to achieve this, see what the man did initially when he set up the Ministry of Livestock Development.
There were no issues about that.
They were not in use. About that, it was fine and okay. And when we know that, tell me the livestock activities going on in the south. So when they know that it's created it for the benefit of the north. You understand? Where the federal government is pumping money. There are budget allocation for that sector every year. Not only we are not talking of the impact of budget allocation, but the impact of that ministry in developing livestock business in that region. So if perhaps the local plans they have been settled with that one, the one that will make the south a bit happy is now everybody is crying that I think everyone will not lose, because we are not saying Kano should share Lagos State part of consumables consumption over there. They have the population. So it's for I expected the ministry, the orientation, the public orientation department.
That's the National Orientation Agency.
Agency. So I've gone to public educating people about it. There was a lot of misinformation about it, which makes some Northerners not to be comfortable. That they were saying that it's against Islam. They were saying that it's against people spending money on mosque and the Hajj and Talakawa. So there was a lot of misinformation about it, and that's where we are. But I think let the government up its game by educating people appropriately and get it passed. The law must be passed, and not only that it's been passed, because as I said elsewhere, it is to the advantage of the north that they pass that bill. Because if they did not, I know Lagos State and one other state are already in court initially on this VAT matter. So if the Supreme Court gives judgment that every kobo made from VAT, because consumption is not federal government affair. Consumption is about state. The court was very clear about it. If Lagos State and some states that were in court got the judgment of the Supreme Court that whatever is being consumed in Lagos State should have the VAT. That's it. We are talking of production, we are talking of consumption. So we take 10 bottles of Coke in Kano, then you have VAT for that 10 bottles. If you MTN, MTN is over, if 25,000 or 5 million people are using MTN and they are using the certain number of, they are burning their credit to this level in Kano, let them have the VAT on it. But they should not be thinking that they must share that of Lagos State. They must not be thinking of sharing part of what they are consuming in Port Harcourt. Because they are not the ones bearing, I think, the effect of the production of the consumption there. If let's say the kind of mass you have in Lagos State, the radiation pollution from the generator is being suffered by people in Lagos, right?
Yes.
Not elsewhere.
Yes.
So the number also you are getting that state, you don't enjoy it. I think that's the essence of centralism. It's not for you to be folding hands and be taking what is not due for you, what did not work for. What does not happen, the activity that does not happen in your state. How do you explain that Kano is earning more VAT than Lagos State? How do you explain it? So there are many things you cannot explain because the military made this rule and some people wanted it to be continue. But if they did not allow this tax reform bill to take place, and I don't see how they can win this matter in court. President Tinubu was just quickly wanted didn't want it to happen through court. But if they want it to happen through court, let's wait and see. They are not going to see. The matter is already in court.
Yes.
But if this bill passed now, becoming the constitution, the Supreme Court cannot go and do anything against the constitution. But if they did not allow it to pass, you understand, and they want to use the present constitution, that's the constitution now, for the Supreme Court to interpret on this consumption tax, let's do that.
Mr. Mᴜyíᴏ, thank you so much for having a good conversation with us all through the year. 52 Thursdays you've been on this show. Thank you for always coming live in the studio.
No, we have to thank our listeners. We have to thank our listeners. That's been fantastic.
Thank you very much. The next time you come up on the show is going to be 2025. So let me wish Happy New Year in advance.
I wish you and everybody listening to us Happy New Year in advance.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Mᴜyíᴏ. Prosperous year for all of us.
Amen. We pray so. Thank you very much. We're due for break. Mr. Mᴜyíᴏ is the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper, and we've summarized the major policy or political conversation that had dominated the Nigerian political space in the outgoing year 2024. But let me quickly go on the break. When I come back, your messages on our social media platforms are really big. We'll try and take as much as we can. We'll also pick your calls. Stick with us.
You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM. The sound of Lagos.
As the years they go, we dey work for dough. Some days it's fast, some days it's slow. Many highs and lows, but we carry go. Nothing go stop our doing so. Now the night just spirit, yes we move. With family, there's love at home. We know say Christmas, it don't come over. Blow the trumpet,
hello, go. Everywhere you go. Everybody go lo. We go enjoy.
So make us celebrate. It's a yellow Christmas, so we celebrate. When you hear the bedroom, everybody celebrate. It's a yellow Christmas, so we celebrate. We do it anyway, any place.
Disconnect from distractions. Go make a difference this season. Merry Christmas from MTN.
Chai, my head oh. Oga landlord, why you dey shake like ceiling fan? My village people don't come again oh. This one with your body hot so, you don't do test? Yes, see result oh. Oga landlord, no be your village people oh. Na malaria, you need Luta. Luta na better medicine wey dey knack down malaria. Oya see am, take am. Thank you Oga Luta. I don't dey kampe. Luta, brand of Artemata and Lumefantrine, is another quality product from Hovid, marketed by Pharmatex Nigeria Limited. If symptoms persist after 3 days, see your doctor.
Everybody say thanks, Luta. Malaria's in big trouble.
àti pé fún ìdíkòwò mẹ́fà tí mo ti ní mo ní àǹfààní ẹyọ kan sí i.
ewu lẹ gbé ṣírò lè báyìí.
mo ń ṣe òǹkà iye tí mo lè ní nínú ìdíkòwò bílíọ̀nù márùn-ún ni nítorí ABN Holdings ìtẹ́pẹ́pẹ́ ìdíkòwò fún àwọn tó jẹ́ onípín ìdíkòwò wọn lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. èyí dá sí pé àwọn tó ti ní ìpín wọn lọ́wọ́ báyìí ní àǹfààní láti ní ìpín kan sí i lórí ìpín mẹ́fà tí wọ́n ti ní ìpín ọjọ́ ọ̀la pẹ̀lú ABN Holdings. ìpín ìdókòwò yìí ìdókòwò bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní ọjọ́ 4 oṣù kọkànlá ní ọjọ́ 12 oṣù kejìlá ọdún 2024. ọ̀sán àwọn olùṣòwò ìpín ìdíkòwò rẹ̀ tàbí ẹ̀ka ilé ìfowópamọ́ First Bank bákan náà ni o lè ra ìpín rẹ̀ lórí First Mobile app rẹ̀. ABN Holdings ní ìpín nínú ọjọ́ ọ̀la.
Chai, my head oh. Oga landlord, why you dey shake like ceiling fan? My village people don't come again oh. This one with your body hot so, you don't do test? Yes, see result oh. Oga landlord, no be your village people oh. Na malaria, you need Luta. Luta na better medicine wey dey knack down malaria. Oya see am, take am. Thank you Oga Luta. I don't dey kampe. Luta, brand of Artemata and Lumefantrine, is another quality product from Hovid, marketed by Pharmatex Nigeria Limited. If symptoms persist after 3 days, see your doctor.
Everybody say thanks, Luta. Malaria's in big trouble.
As the years they go, we dey work for dough. Some days it fast, some days it slow. Many highs and lows, but we carry go. Nothing go stop our doing so. Now the night just spirit, yes we move. With family, there's love at home. We know say Christmas, it don't come over. Blow the trumpet,
Hello, go. Everywhere you go. Everybody go lo. We go enjoy.
So make we celebrate. It's a yellow Christmas, so we celebrate. When you hear the bedroom, everybody celebrate. It's a yellow Christmas, so we celebrate. We do it anyway, any place.
Disconnect from distractions. Go make a difference this season. Merry Christmas from MTN.
pé fún ìdíkòwò mẹ́fà tí mo ti ní mo ní àǹfààní ẹyọ kan sí i.
ewu lẹ ń gbé ṣírò lè báyìí.
mo ń ṣe òǹkà iye tí mo lè ní nínú ìdíkòwò bílíọ̀nù márùn-ún ni nítorí ABN Holdings ìtẹ́pẹpẹ ìdíkòwò fún àwọn tó jẹ́ onípín ìdíkòwò wọn lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ èyí dá sí pé àwọn tó ti ní ìpín wọn lọ́wọ́ báyìí ní àǹfààní láti ní ìpín kan sí i lórí ìpín mẹ́fà tí wọ́n ti ní ìpín ọjọ́ ọ̀la pẹ̀lú ABN Holdings. ìpín ìdókòwò yìí ìdókòwò bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní ọjọ́ kẹrin oṣù kọkànlá di ọjọ́ kejìlá oṣù kejìlá ọdún 2024. ọ̀sán àwọn olùṣòwò ìpín ìdíkòwò rẹ̀ tàbí ẹ̀ka ilé ìfowópamọ́ First Bank bákan náà ni o lè ra ìpín rẹ̀ lórí First Mobile app rẹ̀. ABN Holdings ní ìpín nínú ọjọ́ ọ̀la.
Chai, my head oh. Oga landlord, why you dey shake like ceiling fan? My village people don come again oh. This one wey your body hot so, you don do test? Yes, see result oh. Oga landlord, no be your village people oh. Na malaria, you need Luta. Luta na better medicine wey dey knack down malaria. Oya see am, take am. Thank you Oga Luta, I don dey kampe. Luta, brand of Artemata and Lumefantrine, is another quality product from Hovid, marketed by Pharmatex Nigeria Limited. If symptoms persist after 3 days, see your doctor.
Everybody say thanks, Luta. Malaria's in big trouble.
Hey there! Yes, you! You just won 5,000 Naira cash! And you, sitting by the side, there's 1 month Showmax subscription to watch the Premier League waiting for you! You behind! Of course! You're not left out! How does 1,000 Naira airtime and 2,000 Naira Uber discount sound? All this could come true when you buy the No Unwrap and Win pack. Open it, look for a cube with a 6-digit code on its wrapper, text the code to 8011 and follow the prompts to stand a chance to win any of these instant prizes. Promo valid from July till December. Terms and conditions apply. Get extra value on the No Unwrap and Win pack. No, eat for good.
As the years they go, we dey work for dough. Some days it fast, some days it slow. Many highs and lows, but we carry go. Nothing go stop our doing so. Now the night just spirit, yes we move. With family, there's love at home. We know say Christmas, it don't come over. Blow the trumpet,
hello, go. Everywhere you go. Everybody go lo. We go enjoy.
So make we celebrate. It's a yellow Christmas, so we celebrate. When you hear the bedroom, everybody celebrate. It's a yellow Christmas, so we celebrate. We do it anyway, any place.
Disconnect from distractions. Go make a difference this season. Merry Christmas from MTN.
You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM. The sound of Lagos.
Things seem anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship you face. I wish there were other ways, but there is not. If there were,
in our quest to bring to the table issue-based conversation around nationhood and development, we have made 4 to 5:30 p.m. Monday to Friday the perfect time to welcome you into the Situation Room as we continue to build the narrative about public service and accountability.
Mr. President, this Senate needs to know. Mr. President, this Senate needs to lend its voice to the plight of these people. Mr. President, there is nowhere it can say it except here. This is why I'm elected. If I cannot say these things on this floor, sir, I better resign and leave.
As elections give the citizens the chance to make their political decisions, constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us now, there is nothing, we are starving. Tinubu should please do something.
It's also important to having a Nigeria of everyone's dream. Join Tᴏɪᴛᴛᴇʀ as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership. Every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial, Mainland 98.3 FM will welcome you, roommates, as we discuss the situations.
Dear compatriots, it gives me immense joy to welcome each and every one of you, young and old, to this brand new year 2024. We must lift up our hand to Almighty God in gratitude for His grace and benevolence to our country and our lives in the year 2023 that has just gone by. The year was a very challenging one. It was eventful in so many ways. For our country, it was a transition year that saw a peaceful, orderly, and successful transfer of power from one administration to another, marking the yet another remarkable step in our 24 years of unbroken democracy. It was a year you, the gracious people of this blessed nation, entrust your faith in me with a clear mandate to make our country better, to revamp our economy, restore our security within our borders, revitalize our floundering industrial sector, boost agricultural production, increase national productivity, and set our country on an irreversible path towards national progress that we and future generation will forever be proud of. Task of building a better nation and making sure we have a Nigerian society that cares for all our citizens is the reason I ran to become your president. It was the core of my renewed hope campaign message, on the basis of which you voted me as president. Everything I have done in office, every decision I've taken, and every trip I've undertaken outside the shores since I assumed office on 29th May 2023 have been done in the best interest of our country. Over the past 7 months of our administration, I have taken some difficult and yet necessary decisions to save our country from fiscal catastrophe. One of those decisions was the removal of fuel subsidy, which had become an unsustainable financial burden on our country for decades. Another was the removal of the chokehold of few people on our foreign exchange system that benefited only the rich and the most powerful among us. Without doubt, these two decisions brought some discomfort to individuals, families, and businesses. I am well aware that for some time now, the conversations and debate have centered on the rising cost, high inflation, which is now above 28%, and the unacceptable high underemployment rate. From the boardroom at the broad streets in Lagos to the main street of Kano and Nembe Creeks in Bayelsa, I hear the groans of Nigerians who work hard every day to provide for themselves and their families. I'm not oblivious of the expressed and sometimes honest expectations of my fellow citizens. I know for a fact that some of our compatriots are even asking if this is how our administration want to renew their hope. Their compatriots. Take this from me. The time may be rough and tough. However, our spirit must remain unbowed because tough times never last. We are made for this period, never to flinch, but the socio-economic challenges of today should energize and rekindle our love and faith in the promise of Nigeria. Our current circumstances should make us resolve to work better for the good of our beloved nation. Our situation should make us resolve that this new year 2024, each and every one of us will commit to be better citizens. Silently worked to free captives from abductors. While we can't beat our chest yet that we had solved all the security problems, we are working hard to ensure that we all have peace of mind in our homes, places of work, and on the roads. Having laid the groundwork of our economic recovery plans within the last 7 months of year 2023, poised to accelerate the pace of our service delivery across the sectors. Just this past December, during COP28 in Dubai, the German Chancellor, Olaf Scholz, and I agreed and committed to a new deal to speed up the delivery of Siemens energy power project that will ultimately deliver reliable supply of electricity to our homes and businesses under the presidential, which began in 2018. Other power installation projects to strengthen the reliability of our transmission lines and optimize the integrity of our national grid are ongoing across the country. My administration recognizes that no meaningful economic transformation can happen without steady electricity supply. In year 2024, we are moving a step further. Quest to restart local refinery of petroleum products with Port Harcourt refinery and the Dangote refinery, which shall fully come on stream. To ensure constant food supply, security, and affordability, we will step up our plan to cultivate 500,000 hectares of farmland across the country to grow maize, rice, wheat, millet, and other staple crops. Launch the dry season farming with 120,000 of land in Jigawa State last November under our National Wheat Development Program. And this new year, we will race against time to ensure all the fiscal and tax policies reforms we need to put in place are codified and simplified to ensure the business environment does not destroy value on every foreign I've embarked on. My message to investors and other business people has been the same. Nigeria is ready and open for business. I will fight every obstacle that impedes business competitiveness in Nigeria, and I will not hesitate to remove any clog hindering our path to making Nigeria a destination of choice for local and foreign investments. In my 2024 budget to the National Assembly, I listed my administration's 8 priority areas to include national defense and internal security, job creation, macroeconomic stability, investment environment, optimization, human capital development, poverty reduction, and social security. Because we take our development agenda very seriously, our 2024 budget reflects we place on achieving our governance objectives. We will work diligently to make sure every Nigerian feels the impact of their government, the economic aspirations, and the material well-being of the poor, the most vulnerable, and the working people shall not be neglected. It is in this spirit that we are going to implement a new national living wage for our industrious work. This new year, it is not only good economics to do this, it's also a morally and politically correct thing to do. I took an oath to serve this country and give my best at all times. Like I said in the past, no excuse for poor performance from any of my appointees will be good enough. It is the reason I put in place a policy coordination, evaluation, monitoring, and delivery in the presidency to make sure that governance output improves in the living condition of our people. We have set the parameters for evaluation. Within the first quarter of this year, ministers and head of agencies with a future in this administration that I lead will continue to show themselves. Fellow Nigerians, my major ambition in government as a senator in the Republic, as governor of Lagos State for 8 years, and now as the president of this blessed country, is to build a fair and equitable society and close the widening inequality gap, while I believe the rich should enjoy their legitimately earned wealth. Our minimum bargain must be that any Nigerian that works hard and diligent enough will have a chance to get ahead. I must add that because God didn't create us with equal talents and strengths, I cannot guarantee that we will have equal outcomes when we work hard. But my government, in this new year, 2024 and beyond, we work to give every Nigerian equal opportunity to strive and to thrive. For the new year to yield all its good benefits to us, as individuals, as a people, we must be prepared to play our part. The job of building a prosperous nation is not the job of president, governors, ministers, lawmakers, and government officials alone. Our destinies are connected as members of this household of Nigeria. Our language, creed, ethnicity, and religious belief, even when they are not, will never make us work at cross purposes. In this new year, let us resolve that as joint heir to the Nigerian Commonwealth, we will work for the peace, progress, and stability of our country. I extend this call to my political opponents in the last election. Election is over. It is time for all of us to work together for the sake of our country. We must let the light carry men and women, young and old, shine bright and brighter to illuminate our path to a glorious dawn. I wish all of us a happy and prosperous year 2024. May God continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos.
Welcome back and thank you very much for staying with us. I decided to end the show, the last edition of the show for the year 2024, with a part of the 1st of January 2024 presidential speech about, of course, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And a lot of promises were made in that speech. A lot of assurances were given to Nigerians in terms of inviting Nigerians to be partners in progress. The promises of the Dangote refinery and the Port Harcourt refinery coming upstream in 2024. The promise of cultivating 500,000 hectares of land across the federation to grow cassava, to grow rice, to grow maize, to grow millets, to grow everything, so that Nigerians can have abundant food, even have a lot in our reserves. Those are the promises that the president gave to Nigerians at the start of the year. Well, in a few days' time, the president would also address us again this time around. We don't know the perspective the president would come in from. Perhaps he's going to have a review of how this particular speech I just played out in terms of how it has had positive effect on Nigerians. We'll wait. But I can assure you that the speech of Mr. President on the 1st of January 2025 would certainly be filled with a lot of promises, hope, renewed expectations to set Nigerians on the path of hoping that the country would make steady progress. My name is 괏ᴏᴜ Akínyẹ̀dé. Thank you to everyone that stayed with us all through the year. 52 straight edition of this program. Not a single one failed. To all of our guests that have joined us, Mr. Mᴜyíᴡsᴜ have been constant on the show for every single Thursday. We say thank you. For all of the callers, for everyone that had also taken time to be with us on this show, your messages, your criticism, we appreciate you. To my producers, my manager programs, everyone that have been a part of this production, I say thank you. And of course to myself for being consistent. Congratulations to myself. Let's do this again in 2025. The first edition of the show would come up on the 2nd of January. That is next week, Thursday. And I hope that all of us that have listened today would also come back next week to do the same thing. I wish you the very best as you prepare to march into the new year. Stay safe. The program we just listened to is the Thursday edition of the Situation Room live from Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is 괏ᴏᴜ Akínyẹ̀dé. Happy Boxing Day, and the program returns in 2025. See you then.